Peace, family. How you doing? It's Mr. R2 here. At Consistency is Currency. Your morning podcast choice. I hate that it's 7:35 and not 7:30, so I'm pushed back a whole 5 minutes. Um, just know that technology was winning today, but I refuse to allow technology to win, so I just stuck with it. Peace. Good morning, Miss Teresa. Um, like always, we're gonna start with thank you and appreciating you just for being here to be alive and to be able to see me as I'm able to see you. Um, for life, health, and strength. Peace. Good morning, Miss Scott. Today is different. When I say today is different, today is completely different. The title itself is different. Of course, I'm gonna tell you where I got the title from, because it's a space. Peace. Good morning, Mr. Bowens. Fear less and feel more is a space. And I can honestly say, feel less and feel more is a space that we as men um, oftentimes is not really taught, especially coming up as a young black man. I cannot speak for a woman. I can't speak for black women. I can't speak for black uh, female children, but I can speak for a black man. I can speak for a black male child. But the fear less, feel more. Um, it can be adopted by anyone. So it's going to be all right. I'm just going to jump into it. Peace. Good morning, Miss Pam. All right. So all my family out there that's watching in the YouTube space, those that's watching on LinkedIn, those that's watching on Facebook, showing gratitude to you, saying thank you as always just for being here. Today is your day. Today is September the 15th. So for everybody that has a birthday in the month of September, I say happy birthday to you ahead of time. For all my 15 mid-month babies, those who waiting for payday, today is your day. Right? Today is your day. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. I don't want to keep you, but I do want to bless you. I'm going to say that again. I don't want to keep you, but I do want to bless you. Bless you with learning a little bit more about not just the who that I am, but also being able to tap into some of the things that you could use. This is a tool. Fear less, feel more. Right? I know when some of y'all saw this, like, what is he talking about? That's why I said in the description, I don't know how to describe it, but you just got to show up to listen to it. It's not something that you hear all the time, but it is something that you can hear right now. All right. So for those that's new to the platform, you're going to get definitions of the words and you may get the etymology. I'm going to tell you right now, you're not today, but you're going to get definitions of the words and I'm going to give you the inversions of the words. So the inversion, if I say red over white, then you're paying attention to the words that are in red. If I say white over red, you're paying attention to the words that are in white, because that's the thing that I want you to focus on, because that begins our key points or our topics of discussion at that particular time. So let's go ahead and jump. So the definition of fear, right? The definition of fear. It says a feeling of anxiety concerning the outcome of something or the safety and well-being of someone. Again, it says the definition is a feeling of anxiety concerning the outcome of something or the safety of outcome of something or the safety and well-being of someone. So the inversion on this is white over red. And the reason why I put the in there, because you got the vowel following of the vowel of anxiety, so it has to say and. So an anxiety concerning the outcome, that's fear. That is an anxiety concerning the outcome. And there's nothing wrong with that because it's a natural thing. I think if we look at fear as an anxiety, that means that you're excited or you're eager or something like that. Because again, it's a natural emotions, but what do we do with it when we feel that particular way? Right? So, an anxiety concerning the outcome. So let's go ahead and let's talk about feel. Feel, the definition said, is have the strength and energy to do or deal with. Having the strength and energy to do or deal with. The inversion on this is red over white, which is have the strength to do or deal with. And again, we're talking about fear less and fear more. Fear less and feel more. So let's begin to take the process and taking these steps into our deep dive. So I was listening to this artist yesterday, and the artist said something that really struck me, and I was like, man, that's deep, because he said fear less. In one of the lines he said fear less and fear more, because where I'm from, fear keep you from what you're here for. So how many times has fear kept you away from your purpose? How many times has fear taken you out of being who you feel? I mean, take you out of being who you are, or take you out of being where you're going, because of being afraid of that thing, or being afraid of being in that moment. So feel more is like, I'm I'm learning so much about myself this year, and I know it's not just me, because I think like right now, socially and psychologically, a lot of us is really beginning to develop our second skin. And I say our second skin because we're beginning to shed some things that we know that we were not supposed to have, or we're beginning to let go of some things that we know we're not supposed to carry. If it's not just me, say that. Say that's where I am. Put that out there. Say that's where I am, or acknowledge that, because that's just how it's coming to me. Because I know it's not just me. Especially as a man, when you beginning to grow into the space of acknowledging acknowledging feelings to begin with, that takes growth. That takes a process, right? And because it takes growth and it takes a process to feel, because feel more is like being vulnerable, right? Being vulnerable to the lessons, and being vulnerable to learning that you're not feeling okay, right? Because when you're vulnerable to feel more, then you're allowing yourself to know, like, you know what? I don't like how I'm feeling. Because now you're absorbing the energy and expressing yourself, because you know what, you know that you're not feeling so well. So now you're being fearless in your approach of seeking help. Because if more men knew or acknowledge that feelings exist, or to acknowledge that being vulnerable, to open up, to say, I need to sit with someone, or I need someone to just talk to, I think we will have a lot more conversations on how to heal, because we feel more. And that's going to change some landscape. That's going to change how we communicate. Hell, that's going to change how we communicate with ourselves, because we're allowing ourselves to feel more. We're allowing ourselves to be vulnerable in the moment. We're allowing ourselves to be able to speak and not be afraid of what we're saying, because we are receiving more of a process of healing than we're neglecting that we feel to begin with. Because remember, in the definition, it said that, let me go back to make sure that we're still in that point. To have the strength to to do or to deal with, right? Feel more. Having the strength to deal with how you feel more. Having the strength to understand that it's going to take a vulnerable moment, or it's going to allow you to be in a space to where you're able to communicate and be okay with communicating because you're speaking from an honest place. Because to have the strength, that means that this is bigger than me. This is that I need to be strong enough to understand that how I feel right now can help me to not feel a certain way, or even to identify, because remember, feelings is dealing fear is dealing with the anxiety. So feelings allow you to identify, or have the strength to identify how you feel, or having the strength to identify that I need help, and being fearless and going to go get it. Because feel more is also acknowledging your internal convictions, right? Those internal convictions, those conversations that you have with yourself, those moments that you know that maybe I could have changed my delivery, then it may possibly have been received different. Or sitting yourself down and saying, you know what, I just feel bad because I just know I could be a lot further where I am if I would have just stuck to it. But that doesn't mean you can't stick to it. That means that you were convicted enough to know where you are, to be internally convicted and to speak to yourself, but not being afraid to do something about it. To fear less. Not fearless, but to fear less. I'm not afraid to restart. I'm not afraid to go out and to make it happen. I'm not afraid to say that I'm not where I know I can be. I'm not afraid to put myself in the moment of correction, because, like I say all the time, without correction, there will be without conviction, there will be no correction. Have you become convicted enough within yourself to want to do something bigger, better, and greater than what you just did in the past? Because we taught our boys to feel less. That's just my generation. I can't speak for the generation now. To feel less and to be fearless. But being more emotionally intelligent will create them to be far more fearless and to fear less. And this is something, like, for me, like, really learning this process right now, even with my own son, communicating and learning how to communicate overall is a development. And I think we as people, when we begin to understand the process and the difference between fearless and fearless, they're two different things. I fear less because I am comfortable with myself. I fear less because I know what I'm here for. I fear less when I can be honest with myself. I fear less when I'm in that moment of perfect peace, because I know who I am. Because you don't have to be afraid to try. You don't have to be afraid to grow. You don't have to be afraid to express yourself. You don't have to be afraid to acknowledge when you're not feeling so good. You don't even have to be afraid to even say that you're afraid. So fear less and feel more. I think we can begin to develop like becoming our own heroes and stop looking for outside heroes. Stop looking for the outside influence. Stop looking for the outside conversation. Who do you say that you are? Where do you say that you're going? And developing how you're going to get there. And fear less, because you can always start over, right? There's always room for you to grow, right? There's always time for you to process and feel more. Acknowledge your own emotional intelligence. Acknowledge those anxieties. Repurpose those anxieties. Knowing that it's okay to feel more. Because to feel more is to just show you that you're human. To feel more is to show you how to deal with things or how to deal in certain situations, and to allow yourself to be open to the process of the corrections that need to be had. So fear less and feel more. Now, it's like the development of our growth. It just feels like that's where time is right now. It's like we're going into a whole nother dimension in our minds, to where if I'm ever going to get there, like this is like open thought conversation. If I'm ever going to get there, I must know where I am, because we can't take everybody with us when we're not everybody is supposed to go where we're going. Not everybody is going to be there when you get there. Not everybody is supposed to come along with you through the journey. Not everybody is supposed to acknowledge that the journey even exists. Not everybody is going to understand your vision. Not everybody is supposed to see your vision, but what do you see? Do you see it for you? Because that's the only person that's supposed to see it. Because the word vision has two eyes. VISION. So that means you're supposed to see it, not everybody else. Can you see it? It's like making a word play. What has two eyes but can't see? Vision. What do your two eyes see? Can you see past your feelings and see more about what you're doing? Fear less. Feel more. That's being emotionally intelligent. Emotionally intelligent in the moment, emotionally intelligent throughout the process, emotionally intelligent along the journey, emotionally intelligent along the way. and emotionally intelligent to know that you've got there, because it's going to take emotional intelligence to even course correct. It's not that you quit. It's just time for you to take a different path. It's just time for you to develop a new processes, new systems, new routines, develop new repetitions, and not being afraid to do it, not being afraid to say it, not being afraid to acknowledge it. All right, that's enough. So, fear less and feel more. Soak that in a little bit today. Soak that in and say fear less, not fearless, but fear less and feel more. That's like the definition of emotional intelligence. I know what fear feels like. I know what fear looks like, and I'm not afraid to correct it. I'm not afraid to acknowledge it, and I am okay with how I feel when I feel that way, because I'm repurposing that anxiety. And I'm recommitting myself to the process to ultimately get to where I'm going. And I don't need you to come along to get there. Because when I get there, I will be a lot more stronger to pull you with me, because I have accomplished that goal. All right, that's enough. Hey, man, I appreciate y'all for being here. It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. Y'all be blessed and enjoy the rest of your day. I see you tomorrow, 7:30, right here. Peace.